very good day to all. Welcome back, dear students. Myself, Mrs. Nympha Mascarenhas, your biology lecturer. So, dear students, in my previous videos, you have been studying about different parts of a flowering plant. Okay, we came across that a typical flower consists of 4 different holes, right? So, 4 different circular arrangement consist of calyx, corolla, androecium and gynoecium. So, in the previous part of my video, you have studied about calyx and corolla. So, this is the next part of my video where we will be studying about androecium and gynoecium. Is it clear? So, yeah, we shall begin with the next part, that is androecium. So, androecium, you all know that it is a male reproductive structure which is present in case of a flower, right? So, androeciums are nothing but these are the male reproductive structures which are present in a flower, okay? And these androecium typically consist of a structure called as stamens, right? So there are structures which appear in case of a flower, and those unit of reproductive male structures are called as stamens. So stamens over here consist of 2 different parts in turn, okay? So the first part is called as filament or a stalk. So here you can see that this stalk or a filament is attached to thalamus, right? Thalamus or receptacle. So here this is the part which has been attached to thalamus. Okay, this has been attached over here. This can be either called as thalamus or receptacle. So the upper part which moves upwards, that is called as filament or stalk. And then the end parts which are reproductive unit are called as anthers. Okay, so make sure that androecium is basically composed of stamens or stamens, as I have said you, and this stamen in turn consists of a stalk or a filament and a unit of reproductive structures called as anthers. Okay, and these anthers are usually bilobed structures. Bi andre, we all know that it is 2. Mono andre 1, bi andre 2. Lobed andre, different lobules are present. Okay, these are attached together. Okay, this is one hand, this is other hand, but these are free. Okay, lobed yavag helteve andre middle structure en irtavalla, that is been joined, but the end part, okay, outer part is free. Here you can see that. Okay, in my hand, if I join this, okay, this forms 2 lobes. Because this is one part, this is other part. In the middle these are joined, and the end part over here, these are totally free. So this is why we can say that these are kind of lobular structures. Okay. So here we find that anthers are basically bilobed. Okay, 2 lobes are present, and these 2 lobes, okay, again bilobed irtadalla, these 2 lobes also consist of 2 chambers. Okay, we can see that. Okay. This is one chamber, this is other chamber, this is one and this is other. So totally we got 4 chambers and 2 lobes, right? So in case of anther, we got anthers are basically bilobed and it consists of 4 chambers. Okay, when you take a section of, okay, cross section of chamber, you can usually see that, okay, I'll just draw in a rough. This is one lobe, okay, then this is other lobe, okay, this is in middle. You can just have a rough imagination. So when we take a cross section of this anther filament, we usually see 4 chambers, okay, 2 chambers in one lobe, 2 chambers in the other lobe. So in 4 chambers irtavalla, aa chambers na ನಾವು pollen sacs anta kariಬಹುದು. So here we say 4 chambers are present. Our chambers are nothing but those are called as sacs. Okay, we have, with respect to androecium, these are called as pollen sacs because they consist of pollen grains in it. Okay, these sacs in turn consist of pollen grains in them. Okay, this is the cross section. When you take a cross section of an anther filament, anther, you can see that these are the structures which are present in case of anther. Okay, basically when we come to the reproductive unit of flower, okay, it is nothing but it is called as stamens. but stamens consist of a filament and an anther. These are the different parts of stamens. Okay, filament is attached to thalamus or receptacle. Okay, you all know what is thalamus, you all know what is receptacle, and the upper part is attached to anther. Anthers are usually bilobed, and this two-lobed anther consists of two different chambers. Two chambers in one lobe and two chambers in the other lobe. These chambers are nothing but these are called as pollen sacs because they consist pollen grains within them. Okay, I'll mark it over here. These are pollen grains. Okay, and these are pollen sacs. Okay, so these are pollen sacs. So this is how a male reproductive unit is been arranged. Okay, so here we know that a flower, okay, a unisexual flower containing only male reproductive units are called as staminate flower, right? So we know that there are two kinds of unisexual flower. One is staminate flower and other is pistillate flower. Staminate flower is the one which consists of only male reproductive units, and pistillate flower is the one which consists of only female reproductive units. Okay, so when we come back to the further part, the male flower which is unable to produce certain fertile gametes, okay, or as you can say it is a sterile gamete. Sterile in the sense it has lost all the capacity to reproduce. Okay, if there is presence of certain stamens which are not able to reproduce, then it is a bad thing for a flower because it cannot undergo fertilization. Okay, even if the fertilization takes place, it is not successful. Okay, all the energy has been wasted. That's why those flowers which have a sterile stamen are called as staminode. Okay, do not be confused with the word called as staminate. Okay, so staminode is the sterile stamen. Okay, a flower which produces sterile stamen is called as staminode. Sterile in the sense is not able to produce certain gametes or does not able to undergo fertilization. That is called as staminode. Staminate is the one which produces fertile stamens. Okay, a flower which produces fertile stamens, okay, which consists of only male reproductive structures is called as staminate. Okay, and the other thing for the female flower, okay, if the female flower is not able to produce certain female gametes, in that case we can call it as pistillode. Okay, we have two words, staminode for the male sterile gamete, pistillode for the female sterile gamete. Okay, whereas pistillate is the one, the flower which produces fertile female gametes. Okay, these two are fertile and these two are sterile. Okay, sterile andre does not produces gametes, is not capable of reproducing. Even if the reproduction takes place, the progeny is not successful. Okay, so these are the two different words, you have to be thorough with. Okay, do not be confused with two words. And then on the basis of arrangement of these stamens, we get epipetalous and epiphyllous stamen. Epipetalous andre stamens are attached to petals. Okay, that is called as epipetalous. For example, brinjal and datura flower. Okay, the flower of brinjal and datura are called as epipetalous because the stamens which are produced, those are attached to petals. And in some flowers, you know that calyx and corolla. Calyx is the outermost greenish part, corolla is the colorful part. Okay, that is petals. Calyx and corolla are attached with each other. That particular region is called as perianth. And perianth is found in case of lily. Okay, where calyx and corolla are not differentiated. Those are united together. And the region where stamens are attached to perianth is called as epiphyllous. Okay, stamens attached to Perianth. Is it clear? So say stamens attached to perianth, as in case of a lily flower, we can call such stamens as epiphyllous. Okay, so there can be variations in the length of stamens too. Okay, for some reasons, in case of datura, then brinjal and lily, we found that the both stamens which were present, those are equal in length. But in certain cases, the stamen which is present on one side is not equal to the stamen which is present on the other side. Okay, filament of the stamen varies. Idan filament structure ideyalla, one sate short irbodu, one sate long irbodu. Okay, these filament structure varies, and those variation is found in case of mustard flowers. Okay, mustard andre sasvi. Sasvi flowers consist of such stamens wherein the length of the filament has a variation. Okay, and then we come back to a word called as adelphi. Okay, so adelphi is nothing but union or attachment of stamens in a flower is called as adelphi. Okay, union of stamens in a flower. Okay, union or attachment of stamens to a flower is called as adelphi. So we have three different kinds of adelphi. One is monoadelphi, diadelphi and polyadelphi. Okay, we can also call it as monoadelphous, diadelphous and polyadelphous. So monoadelphous is found in case of China rose. Mono andre obviously we know it is single. Okay, single bundle or single bunch of stamens are attached together is called as monoadelphous. It is found in case of China rose. And diadelphous is two stamens, okay, two bundles or two bunch of stamens are joined together is called as diadelphous, and it is found in case of pea plant. Okay, pea flowers. And then polyadelphous. Example, citrus. In case of citrus flowers, okay, there are different many bunch of stamens which are joined together, and that condition is called as polyadelphous. Okay, this is all about androecium. I hope it is clear for you all. Okay, make sure you will remember androecium is the male reproductive unit of a flower which consists of stamens. Okay, so stamens are nothing but these are the structures which consist of two different parts. One is filament and anther. Okay, anther, make sure you will remember it is bilobed in nature. Bilobed in the sense there are two lobes, and these two lobes consist of two chambers. So basically in one anther we have four chambers, and these four chambers are nothing but those are called as pollen sacs because they consist of pollen grains in it. Okay, and pollen grains are the male reproductive gametes which are present. If a male gamete is sterile, okay, so even if the fertilization takes place, there is no successful transfer of the male gamete, that particular sterile stamen is called as staminode. Okay, and then on the basis of the attachment, if the stamens are attached to petals, it is called as epipetalous, and if the stamens are attached to perianth, it is called as epiphyllous, as in case of lily flowers. Okay, and there can be variation in the length of the filaments. Example you can take as the mustard flowers. Okay, and then coming back to adelphi. Adelphi is nothing but union or attachment of stamens with each other. Okay, we get monoadelphous, diadelphous and polyadelphous on the basis of one bundle, two bundle or many bundles. Is it clear? So this is about androecium, and next class, in my next video you will be studying about gynoecium. Yes, so coming back to the next part, that is called as gynoecium. Okay, so we know that androecium is the male reproductive structure which we studied previously, and now we are studying about the last fourth whole of a flower, that is called as gynoecium, which is also called as female reproductive structure, which is found in case of a flower. Okay, and you know that a flower containing only female reproductive structures is called as pistillate flower. Okay, here I will write pistillate. Okay, a flower, a fertile structure. This is very important. Okay, a flower consisting only female reproductive structure is called as pistillate flower, whereas the female reproductive structures are sterile, then it is called as pistillode. Okay, so do not be confused with two words. Pistillate is fertile flower, pistillode is sterile flower. Okay, sterile female flower. So here female, it is nothing but gynoecium is female reproductive structures consisting of one or more carpels. Okay, so here carpels and pistils are both one and the same. You can take this diagram. In this diagram you can see this is one pistil I have drawn. It consists of ovary, style and stigma. Okay, stigma, style, ovary. So this is one pistil. Okay, it can be called as a pistil or else it can be called as a carpel. So basically a female flower may consist of one pistil or two pistil or one or more pistils or carpels. Okay, so like I have said you, it is the fourth reproductive whole. Okay, fourth whole which is of a flower, which is a reproductive whole or an essential whole. Okay, it is called as pistil, and also it can be called as a carpel, or else we can call it as a pistil, and pistil may consist of one or more carpels, we can say. Okay, so this is how we can address a pistil and a carpel, but make sure that both are one and the same when you go through the function. Okay, so here when you take one carpel, basically one carpel consists of three different structures. Okay, I'll just revise for you all. Okay, we studied about stamens. Stamens are the male reproductive structures. Stamens consist of two parts. One is filament and other is anther. Okay, in the same way, the female reproductive unit is called as carpel, and carpel consists of three parts, that is stigma, style and ovary. Okay, this one is the stigma, the tubular structure is called style, and the swollen basal part is called ovary. Okay, you can see the swollen basal end is called as ovary. Ovary may consist of certain ovules in it. Okay, smaller certain ovules are nothing but female gametophytes. Okay, this is the female reproductive structure which consists of female gametophyte. Okay, so here we saw that in case of male, the male gametes were pollen grains. Pollen grains were contained in pollen sacs, that is the filamentous structure of an anther, right? So here that is the complete structure of anther and filament is called as male reproductive structure. Okay, which in turn consists of male gametes called as pollen grains. In the same way, coming back to the female reproductive structure, see we have stigma, style and ovary. Ovary consists of female gametes called as ovules. Okay, ovules may be one or two in number depending on the flower. Okay, so this is how the position of ovary is present and position of ovules are present. Okay, so like I have said you, ovary is the basal swollen end of a flower which is attached to thalamus or receptacle. So this one is the thalamus. Okay, this one is the thalamus. So here style is elongated tubular structure. Okay, elongated tubular structure is called as style, and then stigma is nothing but the uppermost part. Okay, uppermost end part which is receptive for certain pollen grains. Okay, make sure pollen grains are carried from one plant to the other plant with the help of pollinators. Okay, take an example of honeybee, because I love honeybees a lot. Okay, because they have the great diversity role in case of fertilization of a flower. Okay, so here when you take an example of honeybee, honeybee carries pollens to their honeycomb, right? So while carrying, what they do, they go to one flower, pluck certain pollens, and go to other flower to collect certain pollens. Okay, in the same way, when they accidentally reach to the female flower doesn't has any pollens, but instead the pollens from the pollen bag falls off on the stigma. Okay, so here this stigma, okay, when the pollen grains falls on the stigma, okay, there is other reproductive structure in the style that is called as pollen tube. Okay, make sure you will learn these further structures in detail in my next video classes. But right now you can remember that the female reproductive structure consists of ovary, stigma and style. Stigma is the outermost reproductive receptor for pollen grains. Pollen grains are collected, okay, and these are transferred with the help of pollen tube to the ovules. Okay, and then within the ovule fertilization takes place to form seeds. Okay, and here seeds are enclosed in case of ovary. Okay, this is how fertilization takes place. Okay, this is a rough view which you can have. Okay, and here we saw that there are 3 different parts of ovary. Okay, there are 3 different parts of a carpel. Those are called as ovary, style and stigma, or else you can call it as stigma, style and ovary. Is it clear? So here we can see that types of ovary based on the number of carpels. Okay, here I have drawn the video which consists of, okay, here I have drawn the diagram which consists of 3 ovules. So this is tricarpellary. Okay, carpels are nothing but these are assembled to this particular structure which is present. Okay, so studying about the next part, that is types of ovary based on the number of carpels. Okay, this is one carpel which I have drawn over here. Okay, in the same way, if there is one carpel, like in case of example bean flowers, we can say it has a monocarpellary, bicarpellary by the name 2 carpels are present, example sunflower, and then polycarpellary, example lemon, where 4 to 5 carpels are present in a single flower. Okay, so this is about the types of ovary on the basis of carpel. And then if the carpels are fused, okay, then it is called as apocarpus. On the basis of attachment or fusion of carpels, we can say if the carpels are free, they are not attached with each other, then it is called as apocarpus ovary, example lotus and rose. And if the carpels are fused, we can call it as syncarpus ovary, example mustard and tomato plant. Okay, so this is all about gynoecium. I hope you can recall all this everything. Okay, make sure gynoecium is the female reproductive unit which consists of pistils and 1 or more carpels. Okay, so this entire structure is called a pistil. Pistil or a carpel consists of stigma, style and ovary. Okay, ovary is the basal swollen part which consists of ovules, and upper elongated tube is called as style, which leads to the outermost receptor surface for the pollen grains is called as stigma. Okay, so this is about ovary, and on the basis of number of carpels in ovary, we can call ovary as monocarpus, bicarpus and polycarpus, or monocarpellary, bicarpellary and polycarpellary. And if the carpels are free from each other, okay, if they are not joined, we can call it as apocarpus ovary, and if the carpels are fused together, we call it as syncarpus ovary. Okay, the word syn over here resembles that. Syn is union. Okay, if the carpels are united with each other or attached with each other, we can call it as syncarpus ovary, example mustard and tomato flower. Is it clear? So this is all about different parts of a flowering plant, and we have covered about calyx, corolla, and we covered in today's class about androecium and gynoecium, and also I will be completing about placenta, because placenta is nothing but there is other word which we see called as placenta. Okay, so placenta in case of flowers, it is the region where ovules are attached to a cushion. Okay, cushion andre soft spongy structure where ovules are very firmly attached. Okay, that particular region is called as placenta. Okay, this bluish region in the center, you can call it as placenta. Okay, I'll be telling you about placenta in detail in my further video. Just stay connected with me. Yes. So we heard about the word called as placenta. Okay. So I have said you placenta is nothing but it is a cushion-like arrangement for the ovules. Okay, cushion andre soft spongy arrangement so that ovules are placed very freely. Okay, ovules are placed very freely. Okay, so without any harm, that is called as cushion-like arrangement. So here placenta forms the cushion-like arrangement. Okay, and arrangement of ovules within ovary on the placenta is called as placentation. Okay, placenta, we know that it is a soft cushion-like structure for the ovary, and the position of arrangement of ovules, okay, within ovary to the cushion to the placenta is called as placentation. Okay, so placentation or the placenta are of different kinds. Okay, there is marginal, there is axile, there is parietal, central, free central, and basal placenta. Okay, so we'll study about all this placenta in detail. Okay, first we'll take is marginal placenta. By the word itself we can say that placenta is found at the margin. Okay, placenta is formed at the margin or the ridge of the ovary. Ridge andre towards end. Okay, so placenta is formed towards the ridge of the ovary. Okay, ridge andre towards the margin of the ovary. Okay, placenta here basically andre this is all ovary. Okay, okay, this is ovary over here. Okay, ovary ಒಳಗೆ we see ovules, there is placenta, placenta structure ಇರ್ತದೆ, placenta ovules attached ಇರ್ತದೆ. So this is all ovary. So here we can say that marginal placenta is the one wherein placenta is formed at the ridge. Okay, formed at the margin, and ovules are attached at the ridge of this placenta is called as marginal placenta. Marginal by the word only ನೀವು ಹೇಳಬಹುದು marginal ಅಂದ್ರೆ placenta is formed at one margin or towards the ridge of the ovary where ovules are born on this ridge is called as marginal placenta. Example, you can find this kind of placenta in case of pea plants. Okay, pea plants have the flowers consisting of marginal placenta. Okay, next coming back to axile placenta. Okay, axile word andre axile or axis word andre division along the axis. Okay, axial division anta heltavalla, that is division along certain axis. Okay, so here placenta itself is divided certain axis. Okay, that is called as axis placenta. Okay, iden axis ovary that form agirtadalla, along that axis only placenta is developed. Okay, this is placenta over here which you can see light greenish in color. Okay, and on this placenta itself we see ovules are attached. Okay, these are ovules. So this is axial placenta. So in this different axes of the margin are placed, and along the axis of this margins ovules are attached on this placenta, that is termed as axis placenta or axial placenta. Example, you can take this in hibiscus, tomato and lemon. Okay, this is about axial placenta. Next coming back to parietal placenta. Parietal andre periphery. Okay, placenta is formed at the periphery. Okay, idenide alla periphery. Periphery andre towards the end. Okay, this is ovary, towards the end of the ovary. Okay, this structure is called as ovary. Okay, towards the periphery. Okay, peripheral andre towards the end of the ovary. In the entire circular ovary we find parietal placenta. Okay, placenta is formed at the periphery of the ovary, and then ovules are born at this periphery of the placenta is called as peripheral. Okay, or the parietal placenta. Okay, you find this kind of placenta in case of mustard and argemone plants. Okay, and next we will coming back to free central placenta. Okay, here certain septum is absent. Okay, placenta is found in the central region of the ovary. Okay, and here ovules are born on this placenta, that is called as free central placenta. Example, you will find this in dianthus and primrose. Okay, primrose, evening primrose and commonly karitevi. So that you will find free central placenta. And then the last part is basal placenta. Basal andre towards one end. Okay, towards the base. So here placenta is formed at the base of the ovary and ovules are attached towards one base. Example, sunflower and marigold. Okay, so make sure you will remember the examples of these different types of placenta. Okay, na examples helenalla, examples are quite very important. Okay, Okay, whenever you have to explain certain points from this placenta or any other part, make sure you will just write the example over there. Okay, because this will be a plus point for you all by writing the examples, and also it will be helpful for you to remember in the CET and NEET point of view. Okay, that's why make sure you remember the examples very clearly. Okay, so here placenta is nothing but that is the cushion-like structure, and the position or the arrangement of ovules on this placenta is called as placentation. Okay, so here on the basis of this we see different kinds of placenta. I hope I have cleared my point of view. Okay, and if you get any doubts, you can ask me anytime. Until then, keep watching our videos, and thank you for watching this video. Okay, and soon I will be uploading a next video on the last part of the chapter 5. Okay, until then you can just be in touch with us, and thank you for watching this video.